It's me, Monowe. Welcome to the first ever episode of Monowe Travels. I'm your host, Monowe. In this episode, I'm going to introduce myself to you, outline the purpose of this vlog and what my goals are for it, and then we're going to mark Illinois and the United States off the list of states and countries visited for this vlog. My name is Monowe, and no, that's not my real name, but it is the name I've chosen for myself for this vlog. The name is directly inspired by Monowe, Nebraska, a one-person town famous as a novelty location. The idea behind my take on this name is that while this is a singular journey where I, as an individual person, am going to various places, we're going on this journey together, one and together. My home base of travel is St. Louis, Missouri, specifically the suburbs outside of downtown. Living in the center of the country means I have great access to a lot of places in the United States, either by car or reasonable flight times out of St. Louis. The goal of this vlog is to document and share my journey as I travel all over the world, with the overall goal being to visit all 50 states in the USA, as well as travel to all countries officially recognized by the United Nations. I figured, since my personal goal is to visit all US states and all countries in the world anyway, I might as well share my journey with others and have fun documenting my travels. I am not setting a time limit on how long it takes me to visit all US states and all countries. Since country names and territories can change throughout time, the official list I'm going to be using to track my progress visiting all countries in the world is the Wikipedia article titled List of Sovereign States, specifically the version dated January 7th, 2018 at military time 1844. As of the filming of this episode, there are 193 member states to the United Nations, 2 observer states, and 11 other states. So, what criteria has to be met for me to say that I visited a new state in the USA or a new country that counts for this vlog? The guideline I use is that I have to set foot in the state or country on the ground outside of a transportation center such as an airport, train station, or automobile rest stop. As of the filming of this episode, I've considered myself to have visited 35 different states in the USA and 6 different countries. For this vlog, that counter resets to 0. If I don't show you my travel to a particular area, it doesn't count for this vlog. Simple as that. However, that does not mean I'm only going to upload videos of each new state or country I visit. I want to see and experience new sights and new places, even if they are in states or countries I've already been to. Initially, expect a lot of weekend trips to tourist attractions in St. Louis or other places I can drive to within a weekend. Another aspect of the vlog is that I plan to rate each tourist attraction, restaurant, or lodging location that I visit. The rating scale is what I call the M scale for Monowe, a simple 0 to 10 score, with 10 being a place that is an absolute must visit, and 0 being someplace I would never recommend going. Right now, I plan to upload a minimum of 1 video per month, hopefully more. The frequency of my uploads, as well as what locations I visit, will depend on the time and resources I have available throughout this journey. Now that the formalities are out of the way, let's head to our first destination. Well, it's the start. 193 countries and 50 states. I'm going to do this, I think. So, what do you think?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay. Well, we're off. beautiful day in Springfield, probably about 40 degrees, and I'm here at the Abraham Lincoln Museum. Let's go on in. The Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum is the combination of two entities. The library portion was built first and opened in 2004. The museum was dedicated in April 2005. This visit is focused solely on the museum. After the ticketing area, the first thing you'll see is this open plaza and these very lifelike mannequins of Lincoln and his family. The museum has 8 exhibit spaces. On the day I visited, the Illinois Gallery was closed as work continues to make that section about 4 different past presidents with connections to Illinois. Filming is not allowed in the Holovision Theater, the Union Theater, or the Treasures Gallery. As it says on the map you receive when you purchase your tickets, there's no filming in the theater. The first section of the museum we'll travel through is titled Journey 1, Pre-Presidential Years. You'll first see Lincoln as a very young man growing up in Kentucky and Indiana with a recreation of the log cabin he lived in that was located near Little Pigeon Creek, Indiana. As the staff member in this area told us, this replica cabin is larger than the one he actually lived in. The interior scene of the dimly lit cabin depicts Lincoln in February of 1820, continuing his self-education while trying to find time alone in a crowded cabin. The story of slavery in America gets integrated into the narrative, depicting a slave auction similar to something Lincoln might have seen on a trip to New Orleans in May 1828. After that, there's a transition to Lincoln's domestic life, including the time period where Lincoln met Mary Todd after moving to Springfield in 1837, and their subsequent family life. There's a great scene about his famous 1858 senatorial debates with Stephen Douglas, with this scene in particular showcasing the debate held at Knox College in Galesburg, Illinois. The exhibit area wraps up with some more interesting things.
The chaos of a four-way presidential race continues as the campaign of 1860 stumbles toward Election Day. To sort things out, let's look at the candidates' latest messages and this strategy.
viewed both of the theater shows by the time we ventured into Journey to the White House years. The facade of the White House is replicated in the plaza area, and just inside the entrance to this exhibit is a display of dresses that the First Lady and other Washington socialites wore. This dress was used by General George McClellan's wife, Mary Ellen. The beginning of the Civil War at Fort Sumter in 1861 is noted next, and then there's the purposely creepy atmosphere in the area featuring political cartoons mercilessly mocking Lincoln. Lincoln encounters more tragedy in his life with the death of his son Willie in February 1862, an especially difficult time for both himself and his wife. The exhibit wraps up with more scenes from the White House, the important moments of the Civil War, Lincoln's untimely demise at Ford's Theater, and the aftermath of his assassination.
NOZAHI
And it wouldn't be a complete trip to the Lincoln Museum without trying on a stovepipe hat. Illinois. United States of America. So what's the verdict on how good of a tourist attraction the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum is? There are a total of 10 possible points across the 5 different rating metrics I use, and here's a breakdown of my rating. First, how easy is it to get to the location in question out of a possible 1 point? For this, it was a clear 1.0 rating. When you're coming from Interstate 55 south, the proper exit is actually marked with a sign saying something to the effect of, "This way for the Lincoln attractions." And once you get off the highway, you're literally driving in only a straight line to get to the parking garage. The only minor thing is that from prior research, I knew we had to make a left-hand turn into the garage, but I don't think that's very clear when you're within about 2 blocks of where you need to park. The second rating criteria. How reasonable is the admission price? The scale for this is out of 2 points. We were actually charged $12 each as adults instead of the stated $15 on the museum's website and paper brochures. However, I have no idea why we were charged that amount, as I didn't get any information about the reason for the reduced price. Even with the reduced ticket price factored in, I rate this category a 1.5 out of 2 points. We were there for a little over 3 hours. The theater shows definitely were a good value on their own. The museum exhibits enhanced that. Overall, it was a pretty solid value. Note, my rating does not include the cost of parking in their garage. Staff friendliness is rated on a scale out of 1 point, and on this, the museum gets flying colors. The 6 or so staff members that we interacted with were all very friendly and approachable, and even the security personnel at the front entrance were nice enough to suggest the coat check area without me even asking. The fourth rating criteria is the cleanliness and condition of the location in question out of 1 point. The museum gets a top rating for this as well. For a building that's now 12 years old, the place looks brand new. The exterior and interior of the building are impeccably clean. I didn't see anything broken or out of place during the entire visit. There were 0 pieces of trash outside the building, and even the guy's restroom was nice and clean. Finally, the most important category, the quality of the tourist attraction. My rating for this is a 4.5 out of 5 points. The high quality of the theater shows alone set the museum apart, and I like how they give you a literal walkthrough of Lincoln's life and try and let you experience it rather than just focus on static objects that are on display. And that's really the only fault, that it's a bit light in some sections on actual historical artifacts. I was also surprised that there wasn't much covered about the famous Lincoln-Douglas debates other than the full mannequin display and the informational plaque that went along with it. This adds up to an overall rating of 9.0 M's out of a possible 10, a really great tourist attraction that is highly recommended. That's it for this episode, so hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to this channel, leave a comment on this video, and until next time, peace.